We've all been sold the same idea, that your job has to be your everything, that if you're not completely obsessed with your career, you're doing life wrong, that real success means turning your passion into your paycheck as fast as possible. But for curious minds, creative thinkers, and lifelong learners, this advice is a trap. Because when a job consumes 110% of your energy, there's nothing left for the ideas your brain is actually hungry to explore. So here's a different question. What if the secret to a brilliant life with many interests isn't finding a high-passion job, but finding a low-drain one? Most people picture Albert Einstein as a full-time genius in a university hallway, but during his most creative years, he wasn't a professor. He was a patent clerk. From 1902 to 1909, Einstein worked in a small office in Bern, Switzerland, reviewing patent applications, electromagnetic devices, mechanical designs, technical descriptions, structured work, clear rules, defined hours. To the outside world, it looked like a dead-end job. But during that period, in his spare time, Einstein published the papers that reshaped physics: special relativity, the photoelectric effect, Brownian motion, and the equation E equals mc squared. The job wasn't a cage, it was a platform. Einstein later joked about his role, calling it his cobbler's trade. But he also described it as a kind of worldly cloister, a protected space that kept his mind free. Because his work didn't drain him completely, he had something rare, surplus mental energy. And he used that surplus to change how we understand the universe. That's the part most career advice leaves out. Today, we're told that if we really believe in our dreams, we should quit our jobs and go all in. But in real life, quitting doesn't always create freedom. It often creates pressure. And pressure is a creativity killer. When your ideas have to pay rent immediately, they can't be slow, they can't be bad, they can't be experimental. So instead of creating, you start performing. This is where a so-called boring job becomes powerful. The first hidden advantage is mental recovery. When a job has clear boundaries, when it actually ends, your brain can detach. And that detachment isn't laziness, it's fuel. Your best ideas don't arrive when you're staring at a screen. They show up in unexpected moments, driving home, washing dishes, right before sleep when your mind finally has room to wander. A job that lets you mentally clock out protects the part of you that invents, writes, designs, studies, and builds. The second advantage is constraint. We like to think creativity needs unlimited time and freedom, but constraints force focus. When you only have 30 minutes in the evening, you stop waiting to feel ready. You stop overthinking. You ship. Limits don't ruin creativity, they sharpen it. And the third advantage is financial stability. Every meaningful project has an ugly phase: bad drafts, failed ideas, cringe early attempts. If your survival depends on being perfect right away, you avoid that phase entirely. And if you avoid the ugly phase, you never reach the good one. A stable job doesn't just pay your bills, it buys you permission to be a beginner.
Now, this isn't a message about staying in a toxic or harmful job. If your work is destroying your health or safety, that's a different conversation. This is for the person whose job is simply not exciting, not prestigious, not their calling. In that case, the strategy isn't to romanticize the job, it's to use it. This is what we can call the Einstein Strategy. First, treat your job as a stability engine. Its role is simple: reduce chaos and give your nervous system solid ground. Second, create a small, non-negotiable window for your deeper work. Not hours. Start with 30 minutes. Same time, same place, most days of the week. Consistency beats intensity. Third, protect recovery as part of the plan, because a rested mind is a creative mind. History shows this pattern again and again. T.S. Eliot wrote The Wasteland while working at a bank. Franz Kafka wrote The Metamorphosis while employed as an insurance clerk. Harper Lee worked as an airline reservation agent for years before writing To Kill a Mockingbird. None of them quit their jobs to follow passion. They used stability as a launch pad. Now, the business world talks about I-shaped people, specialists who go deep in one narrow field, and that works for some. But here's what the career advice industrial complex won't tell you. We're moving from an I-shaped world to an M-shaped world. The I-shaped career, one deep expertise, a mile deep, an inch wide, reliable, predictable, and increasingly replaceable by AI. The M-shaped career, multiple deep pillars of expertise connected by a horizontal bar of diverse interests. Think a data scientist who also understands behavioral psychology, or a software engineer with deep knowledge of classical music composition, or a marketer who's also an EMT. The magic isn't in the individual pillars, it's in the connections between them. That's where breakthrough insights happen. That's where AI can't follow.
If you're someone with a dozen different career paths dancing in your head, you've probably felt paralyzed by the options, guilty about not committing. You might be M-shaped, someone who needs multiple domains to feel alive, someone who gets bored with just one expertise, someone whose best ideas come from connecting distant fields. And here's what nobody tells M-shaped people. You need protected time more than specialists do. Because your brain doesn't just maintain one skill. It needs to synthesize multiple worlds, ideas from psychology, history, design, technology, art. But those connections only happen when your mind has space. So don't ask, is my job my passion? Ask something better. Is my job funding the person I'm becoming? Einstein didn't change physics by being more passionate about patents. He changed physics by being strategic with his energy. And you can argue, but Einstein was a genius. I'm not. Fair. But genius isn't the point. The point is that even Einstein, arguably one of history's greatest minds, needed protection from mental drain to do his best work. If he needed space, so do you. Your day job isn't your cage. It might be the power source that lets you explore the universe inside your head. So use the job. Don't let it use you. And remember, the patent clerk changed physics. What will you change?